I'm Ann Simmons in the newsroom of the Los Angeles Times. Why would a Danish zoo that recently caught flack for killing a healthy young giraffe now kill 4 healthy lions? How did First Lady Michelle Obama fare on her recent trip to China? And Gwyneth Paltrow and her husband Chris Martin say they've engaged in conscious uncoupling. What on earth is that? These are some of the questions the Los Angeles Times' Robin Abcarian tackles this week in her blog, and she's here to tell us about them. Hello, Robin.
Hi, Anne.
So, what's up with this zoo, Robin? Explain what's going on there.
Well, this is the Copenhagen Zoo, which put a bolt through the head of its 2-year-old giraffe, Marius, last month and fed it to the lions while school children watched. It was something of a science lesson, the zoo felt, but it caused a worldwide outrage, and accusations of inhumane treatment of the animals flowed from that. And then on Monday, the zoo announced it had killed 4 healthy lions to make way for 1 new young male that could come and mate with some of the female lions.
Was that the only explanation?
The reason they gave is that the young male would diversify the gene pool, and that there would be problems with each of the other 4 males, or 4 lions, 2 of whom were older lions, 2 of whom were younger lions, 1 of whom was even a female. But the zoo felt that the lions that it killed would somehow impede the new lion from mating and increasing the genetic diversity of their lions.
Well, was there no other home or sanctuary offered to
This is what's so ironic about this case. They got multiple offers for Marius the giraffe and said, no, 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 we don't own him. We are simply stewards. We can't send him off. They said about the lions, we got no offers, implying that had they gotten offers, they would have found homes for the lions. So it's really, I think, kind of a sad moment in, you know, the human being stewardship of these species, and, you know, just treating them so inhumanely to many of us animal lovers just does not make sense, especially after they've entertained us, enlightened us, and lived in captivity for us. It just doesn't seem like the right way to end things for them.
Right. Well, we're moving on, Robin, to you know, the question of love and what is conscious uncoupling?
Well, and conscious uncoupling is what celebrity couples do when they don't want to admit that their marriage has failed and they're getting a divorce.
Okay.
So they want to put a shiny, glossy spin on it. And I think, you know, in the case of Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin, and God love them, you know, like many married couples, they've come to the end of the road. They have 2 little kids who are going to be, of course, deeply impacted by this.
Right.
But they've on Gwyneth Paltrow's blog Goop, which is often mocked by people for its perfectionist kind of tendencies and the way she just sort of sails through life being perfect, you know, they had a long essay about conscious uncoupling, and the underlying rationale is that human beings weren't meant to be together their whole lives, and that's highly debatable. They try to use science, evolutionary biology, to claim that extended lifespans mean that couples simply can't be together their whole lives. Conscious uncoupling basically is divorce for people who can't admit that they've messed it up and they're getting divorced.
So it's dressed up divorce, okay, right? Last but not least, the First Lady, she recently returned from a trip to China. Some have criticized her for not being a bit more kind of outspoken in terms of tackling some of the politically sensitive issues.
She was in China for a week with her daughters and her mother. She did all the tourist sites. She did a lot of meetings and encounters with people about the importance of education. Twice during her trip, she very gently dipped her toe into the idea of Chinese censorship, talking about the importance of freedom among media, religious freedom, internet freedom, in very, very gentle terms, did not directly criticize China. And some, i.e. me, look back on Hillary Clinton's famous visit to China when she was First Lady, where she stood up and said to, you know, a screaming, thunderous applause, room full of women, you know, that women's rights are human rights, and she ticked off some of the things that China was doing, killing girl babies and you know, the terrible anti-female policies that they had. And this really gave a boost to the women's movement. Michelle Obama has been much more constrained, much more polite, and, you know, that's a decision that she made.
Very interesting. Well, thank you, Robin. Some interesting topics this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
For more on these topics and other stories, please visit latimes.com and read Robin's blog.